have actually that I have done a task that is given by user. So it is about creating a GTS identity service. So actually done in a local, which is completed successfully, and then we uploaded it in the AWS. We have replicated the same in the AWS. So in the cloud platform. So it has run successfully, and we demonstrated in the same in the last week. So we replicated the same in the using Terraform now. So the same structure, the same thing in this the code which I have written. So in this thing we have involved a Lambda, S3 bucket, and a zip file, and Lambda, and RDS, as well as API. So what is a Terraform? Terraform is actually it is a code language actually. So it is a platform from HashiCorp language. So it is used for creating an infrastructure in the cloud. So Terraform supports multiple cloud providers like AWS, GCP, Alibaba, and AWS Azure as well. So it is used to create an infrastructure in the cloud. So as per our need. So this is how we use it. So it is used for time optimization and for correct accuracy of the usage of the infrastructure. So what are we discussing in this thing actually is regarding. So this is string S3 bucket, Lambda, MySQL, and API. So the basic component of how the Terraform script should be. So we need to provide a provider block in our scripting code, the file, so that the script will know that what is the provider, what are the cloud that we are using. So this is a provider block and variable block. So we can change why variable block is needed in the sense. So variable block is needed so that we do not change the code from the scratch. Only what we'll be doing is we'll be changing the parameters that are required to be replaced with the previous. So we'll be changing here in the variables. And the resource block. This is the main block that is used to create our resources. Create our infrastructure, which is called as resources in the Terraform script language. And the output is a block. So what are the output that we needed? So what are we want to display it on our terminal? So like URL or an endpoint, hit point URLs, or ARN of any services resources that we are creating. So this is the basic structure of a Terraform script. So the architecture, how it looks, basically is this. So in this AWS account, we have an S3 bucket, and in the region itself we have an API we have created and a Lambda function in the back of it, and in the backend we have an RDS instance that is running in MySQL. So what we'll be doing here is we'll be creating a zip file and we upload it in the S3 bucket, and the S3 object URL will be pasted in the Lambda. So the Lambda has a package file. So whenever the user queries is done from the API, AWS API, it will be connected with the Lambda function. In the backend of the Lambda function, it is integrated with the RDS, so that the data will be stored in the MySQL database. So the basics, we're gonna start from the script. So this is how the script looks actually. So this is a S3 bucket resource script actually. So this is the resource block. So we are going to do this. So a resource block, S3 bucket, we are going to create an S3 bucket. So we need to specify what are we going to create. So resource. So by this, our Terraform will understand that we are going to create an S3 bucket in the AWS. So this is an imaginary name that we can give to our code. This is a bucket name. This should be unique all over in the whole AWS region. The whole AWS account. Not in the account, I would say in the whole global. So we can even give an enabling also, version enabling. So what this version enabling will do? So we'll be having a previous code which has been deleted, or we'll be versioning. The previous code will be there. If you are updating the same file or something, it will be having a storage. The data of the previous version, so we can use it for our backup purpose or a retrieval purpose. So this is a, what are we getting output from this? This is a value, the S3 bucket. S3 bucket, what this is the S3 bucket that we are mentioning. So from the bucket will be getting bucket name. So then later on we'll be having then a RDS script here. The same goes with the resource. So I'll be explaining the same in the Terraform as well. So this is my RDS actually script. This is a resource block, and this is output block, and so this is the Lambda block. So Lambda resource, we have same goes with the resource block. Resource block, as I said, this is mandatory. Here we are outputting the ARN, and here we are outputting the getting the output of the Lambda function. This is an API gateway. I mean Terraform script for creation of resources. I mean resource name and method as well, and the integration of Lambda function as well, and deploying the API gateway into the environment. So this is how I tested it in the Postman. So basically this is how. Now let me navigate you guys to in this Lambda, I mean in Visual Studio Code. And it's basically let me navigate to S3 by S3. This is the script actually. So when this, as I said, the resource provider block is important. So we are mentioning that this is a provider block, and this is a block even the provider, but this is a versioning of what kind of Terraform are we using. Terraform version are we using? We need to mention so that it could run properly. We need to mention here. So resource block, we are creating an S3 bucket, and the output will be there. So after what the steps that are involved to do this? We need to first install Terraform in our local server, and we need to put it in the environmental variable. So in our local server itself. So we need to put it in the path of the Terraform application file to environmental variable path. So later on, so we need to open this file, and we need to navigate in the terminal where the location is been. I mean, which file? So if you see there is an S3, so we need to run this thing. So what I'll be doing is first I'll be initiating the Terraform in the particular folder. So what I'll be doing is I'll be giving a command called Terraform init, so that the Terraform will be initializing in the particular folder. So it will be having a track of the files. So what I'll be doing after that Terraform init, the next command it will initiate. After that I'll be doing is the file to initiate this process. It will check with the files that are inside the particular directory. If there are any TF files, the TF files is nothing but Terraform files. If there is any TF files, then only the initiative will happen. So then later, so Terraform, when we'll give the Terraform plan, so it will give the output. So how the things, what are the things that are going to create and destroy and modify? Is there anything? So apart from that, after planning, we need to give the apply command. So after giving an apply, so it will actually create a resource in our AWS account. So after creating that, we'll be having a Terraform state file, TF state file. So this is a state file which is required for having a auditing purpose, or what are the resources that we have created. We'll be having a idea in this file. So this is an S3 thing that we have created. So apart from that, after creating an S3, what I have done is so as you can see, my S3 bucket name is GTS Identity Service Terraform. So if I would like to navigate navigate.
So the naming conventions make little bit perfect. So like if this is a bucket, then you can say GTS Identity Service bucket.
Yes, sir.
Same way, GTS identity service API gateway, not the Terraform. Terraform is the language which you are using creating.
Yes, sir. But actually, it was asking for some unique name, so I thought of giving some random name to so that it could look unique.
I mean, make it unique, but give meaningful.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Because this is not a Terraform, this is a bucket, so it should be bucket.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. So what I have done is actually after creating the S3 bucket, so what I have done is I have run the next thing. What I have run is RDS thing. So I have run the same in the another file. So it has the resource block, the provider, and yes. So in what type of traffics to be coming flowing in from the network and out the network, and I'm attaching the internet gateway to my VPC, and the route tables are configured, and this is the resource block for RDS. So this is the name that I have provided, which is in the reference file. So then allocated storage type MySQL and engine version, everything I have mentioned as per the within the limits of trial version. So
You are not audible. So you are not
I
audible.
have given the output is the endpoint. It will be given here.
Yeah, now it's fine.
So this is how. This is a RDS. So when we give this thing, sir, RDS. This is the flow how it looks.
The console output.
So you can see here we have got the endpoint here. So this is the output block. By providing the output block, this is the reason why we got here. So this is how it is done. So after creating the DB, if we navigate towards the DB, so this is my DB database. So as we can see here, what I have specified would be the same. GTS service platform DB dev. So this is the configuration I have given. So after I am getting the endpoint, so I'll be changing this application.yaml file. Application.yaml. So I have changed the RDS point here. So and then, so I have changed the RDS point. Then we need to connect with MySQL here. So we'll be connecting with the MySQL here. Here I have connected. So after connecting the MySQL in the workbench, I need to create a schema. I have created a schema with this name particular. and I have inserted the DB scripts here. Within here, I'll be giving the inserting the scripts here. So after the thing, I'll be specifying the schema in name here. So after this thing, I'll be saving the file. Then I'll be packaging it. So to package this thing to get a jar file, what we'll be doing is, so we need to navigate back to where our pom.xml file is actually.
Basically,
Yeah. So then after that, we need to give comment form. So 1 minute. See here. So this is a pom.xml. We need to navigate back where the pom.xml is. Then we need to install the maven to compile this. So after installing the maven, we need to navigate back to the directory where the maven is. So under the maven, we need to go to the bin folder. Then we need to copy the path, and we need to install the same. I mean, we need to copy the path, and we need to navigate back to the environmental variable settings, and we need to give the path to it. And the maven is ready to work in any ready to compile. Actually, the pom.xml will be compiled here. So we need to give is mvn clean package capital P space lambda package. That's the name. So after giving this, the folder will be created. The target folder will be created. So under this, there is a jar file. It will be created. So as we given the -p lambda package, this zip file will be created. So what I'll be doing is I'll be using this command line, and what I'll be doing is AWS configure. I'll be doing AWS configure, and I'll be giving everything access key, secret access key, and I'll be getting into my AWS account. So then what I'll be doing is I'll be copying the file from here, this location, to my S3 bucket. AWS S3 copy this file name, and my S3 bucket name has to be given. I'll be giving the syntax S3 cp So this is basically in the, now we need to give the syntax. So after that, we'll be pushing our zip file to our AWS account. So this is how it will be done. So after that, we need to copy this thing. We need to open this file, and we need to copy the object file. After copying the object file, we need to navigate back to the Lambda. Now we need to create the Lambda function. So this is how the Lambda function is. So after creating that, we need to create a Terraform. The provider block, provider AWS, in which region we have mentioned, and the resource block, Lambda function, Lambda name, IAM role. We are using IAM role, and the handler name, home.user. So how this handler name is extracted in the sense, if you go into this application dot application dot so we have dot java file. So in this the package named as com.gts user, and with the class of GTS identity service stream lambda handler, this has to be mentioned here, so that our lambda lambda function can be communicated with the package file. So we need to specify here on the lambda function. So, and what is the runtime and the source and the bucket name. So from where we are taking this thing, and we need to specify the bucket name here, and bucket key. The key is nothing but the URL, object URL, what we have copied from the S3 bucket. And timeout we need to mention for 15 minutes. So I have mentioned it in the seconds. So memory I have increased to 1 GB, and for this I am associating a subnet and a security groups and output, so that I'm extract from after running the script I'll be getting an ARN of the Lambda function and the name of the Lambda function. So this is the thing. After running this successfully, so the same steps: Terraform init, Terraform plan, Terraform apply. So after running this, we'll be getting Lambda function. As we can see here, Lambda function name is my underscore Lambda. My underscore Lambda here. So what happens here is, after running this code, here the package file what we have given the URL will be in the code column, and the handler would be the same what we have mentioned, and the Java runtime 11. Under the configuration, as we have mentioned in the general, the timeout should be 15 minutes and the memory should be 1024. And after that, what we need to do is we need to navigate, we need to open the console and Lambda function, and we need to go to the RDS function under the configuration. So after that, we need to connect with our database. So we need to click on the database and what type of Lambda database that has to be communicated with by our Lambda function. We need to specify here. So after that, we are good to go. The final step that we are having is a API. Now we need to integrate a Lambda function with an API. So we need to do this. So the same actually here in the Lambda function. Let me go. This is not the code actually. Now I'm not using the module method. So here actually the module has come where I tried to run the same using a module method to optimize my time, but it was not working. So I've done it separately. So I've created an API. So the same goes with the provider block and the resource block. In that, I'm creating a resource name as my underscore API. Under that, with the reference of this resource name, what I'll be using, I'll be creating an API under it, and v1 and the user and the email. And under this email, so what I'll be using is I'm taking the reference, REST API reference. This is all I'm taking the reference and I'm attaching a method to it. So method as a post. So actually the programming it has completed. The same code was completed Friday itself, last week, but there was an error which was taken three days to debug it. So actually the main mistake what we have done is so by taking the reference of the first creation that has been done in the manually. So in my Lambda, by taking the reference of the previous API, which is created in the GUI of a GUI method in the AWS. So here I have so this is the one that I created for everything, for every resource name that I have created an option as a method post, and apart from that I have created a post. So while creating that, it was blocking me to asking me to configure a post method to the resource. So that was an error that I had from last 3 days. So after removing that options, this is a method type. We have not configured it. So, but that cannot be done while using the Terraform. So we need to remove that thing, and what I have done, the option, I have removed the option and just given the post as a method. So after that, we that has done. Then API, and we are integrating the Lambda function here to the API to integrate. We have done the same, and Lambda function permissions we have given here, and so the resource next step that after that is we need to create a deployment stage. So we have created development deployment stage, and after that will be, and the output will be having a API URL. So after by running this Terraform init, Terraform plan, Terraform apply, so we'll be getting we'll be running up and running. It will, the infrastructure API will be created, and we'll be getting the URL of the API in the terminal main. So in this thing, what happens after that? This is how it is created. This So the name of the my awesome API and all. So this is a resource name and the post is a method that I have created. So under this Lambda function is integrated with my Lambda and all. So I'll be getting an URL while running this in the in the command line itself. If I'm not, what I'll be doing is I'll navigate back to the Lambda function and under the triggers, you'll be seeing an API gateway that is got attached. This is a trigger point. So we have configured a Lambda in API. So we have got this option. We need to copy this URL. After copying this URL, what we'll be doing is we'll be giving the same here, which are already there. So we need to give the post as a method and paste the URL of the API, and we need to insert the data now. So after we need to do this thing particularly. So if we navigate back to Lambda function here, we can see it's showing that it's an endpoint error. 1 minute. I was getting the error from let's check with get, and get is working. You can see the thing actually success true, user registered successfully. So if I again give the same, it will say already the same input has been available in the database. So we need to navigate back to the database
What
and
was the problem? Why
we'll
it was
check
saying timeout?
whether it has reflected. So after that, I'll be selecting a star from the table and I'll be checking.
Sir, what was the problem? It was saying timeout.
This is the last one that ID number that we have got is 10 here. So this is how it is. So we have got the output, I would say. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well done. I was asking why it was timing out.
Sir,
Why it was timing out?
so why we were getting the timeout you are saying?
Yes.
So already we were having a requested that was done, sir, previously. So that was actually this. I was trying to hit the hit the endpoint from last 1 hour. So maybe that was the reason.
Okay, very nice. Very good.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So now you are going to do it EC2 instance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of Lambda.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So for others, right, other DevOps guys, you need to do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'll create one repo and I'll give it to you. You check in the code there, and I will share it to the other your colleagues so that they can do it, and vice versa. When they do it, you will just perform that activity yourself.
Okay, okay.